Now I want to hand sew everything. A few weeks ago, I shared how I hand stitched the inside of my Sorsha Classic Slim trousers I was working on. And while I was doing it, I was attaching the bottom of the facing for the waistband to the pocket bag area to make a nice finish. And I was struggling with my thread a little bit, and someone suggested that I try some thread conditioner. So I got myself some Thread Magic from Taylor Seville. I can't even begin to tell you what a game changer it is. So I shot an entire video showing how I finally finished the facing from this collar. This shirt has been on this dress form for over a year, and I just want to show you it is now beautifully hand sewn because I tried the Thread Magic with my hand sewing, and it was so much nicer to do because I wasn't struggling with the thread, getting all tangled up, and it felt nicer. The thread glided through the fabric nicer, and I was able to thread the needle like in a snap. And actually, I'm doing a big embroidery project again. I'm working on some Portland golf course flags, and now I'm using the Thread Magic to coat the tip of the thread when I go to thread the needle because my needle threader is broken. So I am now in love with this new cool tool. So let me show you how to use it. All right. So first of all, I have another good example. When I went to go edit the video showing how I hand sewed on the collar stand, I was completely out of frame. So I'm going to do a replay here, and as luck would have it, when I was wearing my Sorsha Classic Slim trousers, I kept pulling them up, and I actually put my heel through the hem. So I want to show you how to use the Thread Magic in some handwork here to make it so much easier. And actually, this is better because I have another example of something that I think is going to be super helpful that I didn't have with the shirt. So the first thing you can see here is the tail of the thread, that where it came apart is all coily and ratty. So I'm going to open my Thread Magic, and I just want to point out that when I opened it up the first time, this little pad of conditioner was stuck in the lid. So I pried it out and I just put it in the cup where it belongs. So if you decide to get this, and I do have an affiliate link for this in the description below, if you open yours and the little conditioner is stuck in the cap, just put it back in the cup. That'll take care of that. Now what I want to show you here is I want to be able to knot this, and it's kind of short, and since I hand sewed, I'm just going to use my tweezers, and I'm going to pick out just a couple more stitches to make the tail just a little bit longer here, because I want to be able to secure this tail before I hand sew. But you'll notice once thread has been sewn, it's like this coily, yucky mess. So let's do an experiment here. I'm going to stick it in, put the lid down, and then I'm going to pull it through, and let's see the condition it comes out in. So look at how less coiled it is. I mean, it's still a little bit kinky, but it feels nicer. I'm just going to run it in my fingers, and I think it's going to be easier to work with now. So let me see if I can thread that curled edge into the eye of my needle, which I can. So now what I'm going to do here is I am going to bend this back, and I'm just going to create a knot, and I'm just going to tie a loose knot. I don't have a lot of real estate to work with here, so I'm going to hold the tail down with my thumb so it doesn't go through the eye of the needle, and then I'm literally just going to wrap the thread around the needle like, maybe 4 or 5 times, like this. And then I'm just going to gently pull it through, and even though that thread was all curly and yucky, I was able to get a good knot there without it tangling. So that makes my heart happy. So I'm just going to clip this thread, and then I'm going to get some more thread onto my needle to show you the hand sewing and how to work with it from scratch. Now, there's always that dilemma between putting a long tail in your needle and then having to move your arm up and down like this when you're hand sewing. So it's always a good idea not to have a ton of thread or a super long length of thread when you're hand stitching. But if you want to be a little bit longer, I think this Thread Magic will make the thread stronger and less tangle. You know, it'll make it tangle free, which is nice. So one of the reasons why I like this particular packaging is it comes with a built-in thread cutter. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to put my tail with the end on the opposite side of the thread cutter like this. I'm going to put the lid on, and I'm going to pull it through until I get a length of thread I want to use to finish this hem. I'm going to say about maybe 20 inches. And then I can just use the built-in thread cutter like this to cut my end. And then I'm going to pull the rest of the thread right through, so the entire end is also coated with this Thread Magic. So now that I've got that nicely coated, I'm going to just run my fingers along it, and then I'm going to thread my needle, and the end of the thread just has a little bit more stability to it, making it much easier to thread through the eye of the needle. Then I'm going to create a little bit of a knot here. I'm going to make a little knot on the end of my thread. And I'm going to go in to my hem. I've stopped here, right? So I'm going to go in about 1 inch back, and I'm going to catch the edge of the silk, and I'm going to pull up so that I can bury that little knot I made under the silk hem, like that. Okay, and then I'm going to start hemming, and what I want you to notice here is how nice that this thread is going to slide through the fabric. So basically, I'm just going to catch a little pants fabric, and then I'm going to slide the thread under the fold of the silk binding just a short while. And then I'm going to grab a little pants fabric, and then I'm going to slide through the top fold of the binding. And then I'm going to grab my pants. And I just want you to notice here, I'm going to put a link to the video where I showed how I hem these initially, and you're going to see a significant difference in the quality of the thread, meaning I'm not struggling with it getting twisted or tangled. There's no little knots forming, and it just makes a much nicer experience when you're hand stitching. This thread conditioner, I'm just going to trim this thread while I'm here because I'll forget later. The Thread Magic also makes the thread stronger, so maybe I won't damage my hem the next time my heel goes through the back of it. And it reduces fatigue on your hands. And I have to say, I'm sure you've heard me in the past, I wish you could reach through the screen and try this yourself and feel the difference, because it really is amazing. And also, I always laugh at myself because I've been, doing J. Stern Designs for quite a while now, and it always surprises me when I find something that is so helpful and it's also new to me. So I feel like if this thread conditioner is new to me, I'm sure a lot of you watching already use it, and I applaud you because I really wish I had discovered this sooner, because I'm not a fan of hand sewing in general, But like working with it now without fighting with the thread to stay untangled, it's much more enjoyable. I really feel like I'll be more willing to hand sew things going forward because this is so much nicer. Now I'm not pulling my stitches tight because you want to have a little play between the hem and the pants so you're not seeing the stress of the stitches from the right side of the garment. So I'm literally just catching a couple threads in the pants, but the star of this technique is really how the thread is gliding through the fabric so much nicer than it was when I didn't treat it with the thread magic. It's almost like a relaxing activity, I have to say. I wore these pants for the first time during my 3-day pants fitting workshop, and I had to take the waistband in because it was too big. So I did that during FabFit Friday. So I'll put a link in the description below if you'd like to see how I took off my waistband, took in the waistline, and then put the waistband back on. So I just wanted to stitch along for a little bit here just to show you that I haven't had to untangle this thread a single time. It's just smoothly going in and out. So if you don't have any thread conditioner in your toolbox, I'm giving this 2 thumbs up. And I really feel like everyone should have it in their toolbox. So Thread Magic by Taylor Seville. Love it. I love the container it comes in. I love the little thread cutter. Very, very nice. So I hope you enjoyed this little cool tool on how you can improve your hand sewing by using a little thread conditioner. It makes your thread stronger, it makes it tangle free, it makes it easier to thread the needle, and it also, you know, is less stress on your hands when you're hand sewing. So I think this is one of the cool tools I'll be using very, very frequently. So thank you guys so much for watching, and have a lovely rest of your day.